Hello, welcome to the SportsMed instructional video series at MVP Sports Academy. My name is Roberto Vaz, and I'm going to help you with working on your hitting and working on your swing. And there's several things that I'll be teaching you as far as what your stance should be like, where your hand should be, the 5 steps of a swing, and also I will demonstrate some swings and some drills that you can teach your team, your player, or your child. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about is the 5 steps of a swing. Okay, in the 5 steps of a swing, the first thing, of course, that we're going to talk about is what we call the load. Also, but before I start that, I want to start with the stance. Our stance should always be a little bit wider than our shoulders. Okay, so if my arms would drop straight down, I would want my shoulders to be inside of my knees. Okay, this is pretty much a rule of thumb. Of course, there are different players who hit different ways. Some guys like to have their feet a lot more narrow, and that's for more movement. Okay, so if you have littler kids who are not as strong or who need to generate some momentum for some power, then you might want to narrow their stance a little bit. Okay, now guys, there are also guys, you know, Albert Pujols, and there are several major leaguers who bat really wide in their stance. Okay, and that hinders movement, that limits movement. So if you have a kid who likes to step and jump at the ball a lot, you might want to widen his stance up, because that would limit his movement going forward towards the ball. Okay, as far as hand position goes, okay, where you start, okay, for me as a coach and as a player, it varies. Okay, I mean, there are players who bat with their hands up really high. Okay, and there are also players who bat with their hands low. Okay, some bat with the bat out. Okay, and some people like to cock their bat this way. Okay, more on the inside. Okay, that really doesn't matter to me where you're starting or where your resting position is. Okay, what is important to me is once we get into the load, being in our spot called the slot. Okay, the slot is, okay, after our load, which our load is number 1. Okay, so number 1, the load. The load, you want to act like you have a rope tied around your wrist and a rope tied around your waist. Okay, and somebody standing directly behind you and is pulling them both back at the same time. Okay, so my load would only be from here back to there. As you can see, the back knee will start to bend in, okay, a little bit, not out, okay, because that will hinder hip rotation, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay, but we'll start to bend down, and our hands will start to go back. People ask me all the time, well, how far back is good enough? Okay, well, as far as your hands are concerned, you kind of want to be parallel to your feet, your back foot when you go back. Okay, so when I go back, I'm about right here. Okay, that's all I want to be. It's not tremendous. Okay, another key point that you have to tell all your hitters, all your players. Okay, adjustments in hitting are very, very small. Okay, usually kids, they can't decipher how far is waiting longer. If I'm waiting for a ball that happens to be, that I'm swinging at, that's way out here, okay, my adjustment is only going to be to here. It's not going to be way back here. You're not going to make that drastic of a mistake, or you're not going to misjudge a ball that far. Okay, so any adjustments that you make while you're hitting, you want to make sure that they're really, really tiny, really, really small. Okay, so now we're going on to number 2. Number 2 is called the reach. Okay, I call it the reach. Some coaches call it a stride. Some coaches call it a step. Okay, they're all the same thing. The reason why I say it's a reach is because I do not want any weight to transfer from the backside to the middle or to the front at all. Not at this point. Okay, so like we said, number 1 is the load. Number 2 is the reach. As you can see, as I reach out for the ball, my weight still stays on my back leg. I'm still here. Okay. You want that reach to be soft, gentle, and almost friendly in nature, where you're trying to test, what I call test the water. If I was going to a pool and I wanted to see how cold the pool was, I would test the water, right? So what I want to do is I want to reach back, test the water, okay? And that would be number 2. That's where my reach would be, with my weight being back, okay? Sitting back on my backside, okay? Now we go into number 3, okay? When you're teaching younger hitters, You can omit this step, okay? This step here. This is really difficult to maintain for younger hitters. When I say younger hitters, I'm talking from the age of T-ball to coach pitch, maybe first year kid pitch, which in age group, that would probably be from 5 years old to about 8, 9 years old, okay? You would want them to do what we call launch your front hand. We're launching our front hand, which is a pull motion, okay, from our slot position, which we talked about earlier, okay, to the middle of our chest, okay? When we get to the middle of our chest, so 1 is the load, 2 is the stride, okay, or the reach, okay, 3 is the launch. Boom. All I did was that, which is preparing my backside to rotate through the ball. I pull it to the middle of my chest. The shaft of my bat is even with my shoulder at that point, the top of my shoulder. So it's 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now I'm in a position, good position to drive and fire my backside and present the barrel to the ball. Okay? The reason why I don't want younger kids to really practice this is because they don't know how to gauge how far their launch is. I do not want kids, young kids, to go back, reach, and then they launch like this, okay? The hands are way out in front. I don't want that. I just want here to the middle, okay? And then once we get to the middle, we'll start going to the contact point, which is our number 4, okay? Our number 4 is the contact point. The most important part of getting to the ball is going from 2 to 4. 2 to 4. Remember that, okay? So it's 1, 2 is the reach, 3 is the launch, right? I pulled. Now my top hand starts to punch or come through the baseball to the contact point as I'm rotating my backside through, okay? Now my weight should now begin to transfer to the middle of me, not to the front of me, okay, but to the middle. So I'm in 2, 3, right? 3's launch. I want, as I'm coming through with the punch with my top hand, I want to extend. This is extension here. Watch my front arm. As I'm going through a baseball, my front arm will start to extend and come through. When I'm in this position, contact position, I should be on the toe of my back foot. My leg should be shaped in an L, okay? It should be in the middle of me, and I should be able to take my body, a stick, from the top of my head all the way through to the middle of me. Then I have my center of gravity, okay? So now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And then 5 is the finish, but the finish combined with extension. When you're going through a baseball, it should be 3 baseballs that you're going through, and then the finish, okay? We do not want to roll our wrists over until the barrel is pointing at the pitcher. For example, if I'm coming at you and you're the pitcher, as I start to swing, my hands have not rotated yet until the ball is gone and I'm at the pitcher. Once I'm here, then I can rotate and finish through. All right, so to finish up our 5 steps, okay, remember, right? 1 is the load, 2 is the stride, right, or the reach, okay? 3 is the launch, 4 is the contact point, extension through 3 baseballs, and 5 is the finish, all right? It should look like this in full speed in real time, back and through, okay? Again, back and through. One more time, back and through. Thank you.